Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rock Shop with Ralph, your source for all things entertainment. Tonight, another legend on my show, and you got to cross it off my bucket list. We have legendary drummer, Mr. Carmine Appice. We're going to dub this interview Lunch with Carmine and Ralph.
That's right. Here we go.
What do you got there? Some antipasta?
I had two falafels and some hummus, some bread, and some rice from last night.
Falafel? You're an Italian from Brooklyn. What the hell's wrong with you?
Tonight I'm going to Italian dinner.
All right.
Can't eat Italian every dinner.
Yeah, I know. Well, we taught the world how to eat, Carmine.
I know, but sometimes you have to have rice.
Yeah, that's
right?
good.
You have rice, right?
I have rice.
See, it's rice.
I have rice. So,
anyway,
how much of I'm a drummer. How much of an influence your brother had on me? It's well documented. I'm rocking my Appice Brothers shirt.
Oh man.
I mean,
where'd you get that?
I got this when I ordered the CD.
Oh.
I paid. Listen,
the Appice Brothers shirt.
Yes. So you say Appice, I say Appice.
I know.
I go with Vinny's version. I got your picture above my wall, so I'm not just some idiot that's gonna blow smoke up your ass and say I'm a huge fan. I am a huge fan. Exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
look.
So let's go.
Okay. Now he's rushing me now.
Let's go.
The Brooklyn's coming out of him. So Carmine, listen. You grew up. I got to tell you a joke that Vinny told me. I interviewed your brother. You probably heard it, but I'm going to start off with this. What does Brooklyn and pantyhose have in common?
Okay, Rob.
Flatbush.
I remember Vinny saying that.
Right. That was his joke he gave, so I had to tell you that one. Anyway, I got to tell you, the influences that the influence of drumming on a myriad of drummers that this guy had is well documented, but it's somewhat unbelievable. Let's start off with, you taught John Bonham how to play the drums.
Well, I didn't teach him how to play the drums. I was an influence on his rock drumming.
Yes.
That came from him in a book called Thunder of Drums, and it came to me when I met him. And but when I met him, nobody knew who he was. He was John Bonham, unknown drummer. It's hard to believe.
Right.
It's like when I called Ludwig after I heard their first album, played their first gig with them, and they opened up for Vanilla Fudge, and I called him. And he said, "Can you get me a drum set like your drum set when I had the big maple drums?" I said, "I don't know. I'll try." And I called him up and I said, "Look, this is guy John Bonham. He's with a new group called Led Zeppelin. I think they're going to be big." It's an understatement of 5 decades, So,
yes.
But they could have said no.
Right.
But I was one of their main guys. So they figured if I was telling them that, this guy must be good.
Right.
He
must know something.
He must be on his way to being big, because that's
and the rest is history.
That's what I did for Ludwig.
So I want to backtrack a little bit, but I just want to mention one thing. The influence you were on drummers today. Let me just give you some names: Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden, Ian Paice from Deep Purple, Neil Peart from Rush, Rob Reiner from Anvil, Phil Collins, who I love as a drummer. I mean, and I can hear you and him, and Bonham, and so many others. You were a guitar. You were a drum team. Oh, your brother. Yeah, your brother, Vinny. We can't forget him. Sorry, Vinny. Sorry, Vinny. You were a teacher, and I interviewed Carl Kennedy from the Rods. He told me that he would drive from upstate New York to Hempstead, Long Island, for lessons from you.
Oh, really? I didn't know he was one of my students.
Carl Kennedy?
I didn't know he was one of my students.
You did not know that?
Mm-mm.
He told me. It's
well, he might have been. I had 60 students a week. I had 3 teachers.
Yeah.
And I knew some of their names. Bobby Rondinelli, Joe Franco.
Yeah.
Joe Franco, Sean Murray, who plays with. He played with a bunch of acts, and a few other ones here and there. The guy that played in Beatlemania.
Yeah. Rondinelli.
I didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah, he told me on an interview. He goes, I'm like, Carl, you drove down from Buffalo? He goes, yeah, I would drive to Hempstead, Long Island, and wow. Carmine would teach me. But
It's actually Freeport, Rhode Island.
Freeport.
Yeah.
But let's backtrack a little bit. When you got your start with Vanilla Fudge, and you had that huge hit, "You Keep Me Hanging On," you know, some people don't know that you were in gangs in Brooklyn, New York, and Vanilla Fudge, the boys had a little bit of a handle on that as well. No.
Well, I wasn't quite right. The boys came along with Vanilla Fudge.
Right.
The gangs in Brooklyn were street gangs.
Yeah.
You needed to be in a street gang in order to actually survive. You needed to be in something. You couldn't be on your own. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And what really saved me from all that was the drums.
Right.
Yeah.
A friend of the show, Joe Rubo, who's an actor, he was in The Last American Virgin. He did, he did a documentary with you that should be coming out about the gang. He did about his rise and fall and rise again in the acting world. And you talk about your early life in gangs of in New York.
Yeah.
So that should be coming out.
The 15th Avenue Midgets and the 38th Street Park Boys,
The 15th Avenue Midgets. I'd show up to that game.
That's the name of it. That's funny. Now it'd be what do they call it? Unsociable or antisocial or whatever.
Antisocial, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So yeah, we'll look forward to that coming out. You also had a book, which I have, and when I was a drummer, everybody had it. I mean, like they said in Wayne's World, this book came with free boxes of Tide in the mail. The Realistic Rock Drum Method.
Yeah.
So you taught the world a lot of, even though you don't know it, you taught a lot of people around the world to play the drums with that book alone.
I did.
And plus the people that you did. So, I mean, as you can see, I'm a huge Kiss fan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start going into the 70s now.
But you'd be happy to know my new video that came out today with Guitar Zeus has Tommy Thayer from Kiss on it.
Yes, and it's posted on my wall. It's on my page, and it's out.
The video. You did that already? Oh,
absolutely. It's called Mystified.
Yeah, well, good man. How'd you like the video? It's pretty cool, right?
It's awesome. Very Beatlesque, the vocals.
Yeah. Well, that's Kelly Keeling. Is a great singer. He's so out there. He's a genius.
Yeah.
You see the face. It's his face doing it. All I asked him to do was take your camera from your video, from your phone, and just video yourself singing the song. And that's the effect he sent me.
Wow. Yeah, it's a great video. It's posted.
We wouldn't just do that. And I have my editor who did an amazing job. We all had green screens, and it's an awesome video.
Yes.
And then 2 days before that, which is Tuesday, my other video came out from my other album that's out. The app album. You gotta
Appice
download the
Perdomo.
app, baby. Download the app.
Download the app. Appice Perdomo.
Yeah.
That's all instrumental music. That's on my page as well.
Yeah, kicks ass.
That both videos are on my page. That was for the end of the interview, but we can talk about it now. That's great. They're both posted on my page.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your relationship with Kiss.
Okay.
Of course, we know you played on Paul Stanley's solo album.
Yeah,
how did you meet the guys, and were you close?
The first time I met them, I was on replacing Corky Lang in Mountain, and they had Mick Jones in the band and Kenny Aronson, me and Leslie, and we were opening up for Kiss, who were doing their very, very first arena tour. Matter of fact, when I saw them doing all the fire and stuff, I put lighter fluid on my cymbals and my solo, and I hit the cymbals, and the fire went all over and set the stuff in front of the stage on fire. And they had to call the fire department, the guys in the house with the fire extinguishers to put it out. So I couldn't do that anymore. But I met those guys. I hung out with them, and they were all from New York and Long Island. They were like Vanilla Fudge Cactus fans. And matter of fact, Paul told me that the way they came up with the concept of Kiss was we played Comac Arena with Cactus and Alice Cooper. And Paul said him and Gene went to the show. And then he said that's when they came up with the idea of putting Cactus type raw kick-ass rock with Alice Cooper kind of theatrics. you know? And I
Wow.
said, wow. I said, I don't know if they say that today,
Yeah, I
but
won't say that, right?
yeah,
They got a
but
persona.
but it's like John Bonham talking to me, when people are unknown, they say things that, when they become giant legends, then they forget about that,
So you're saying
including
towards,
myself probably,
nah, I hear rumblings. You're a nice guy, very personable.
yeah, I try to be.
So you're saying like what John Bonham forgot about the early start and your
No,
influence and all
no,
that stuff?
John Bonham didn't, but the people do,
People.
like people like John Bonham, they opened for Vanilla Fudge. We played their very first show. We paid half their fee because the promoter didn't want them. We were sold out already,
Wow.
And when I saw John, I loved his foot. And
Oh,
he said he
fast.
got the foot thing from me. I said, I don't do that. And he showed me on the Vanilla Fudge record where I did it.
And you didn't even know that.
Copied it and extended it. And I said, wow. And then he asked me to call, Ludwig, for the
Wow.
drums. So, but nobody knew who he was, but when I told that story when he was huge, he was dead, but he was huge when people asked me about it. Then I would get feedback from, assholes saying, Carmine made a career out of talking about John Bonham. I don't talk about John Bonham unless somebody asks me about
Right.
it.
And wow, that was like a slight.
Yeah. So, so whatever. So I mean, Paul told me this, or Gina, Paul. I knew all of them, Peter and Ace, everybody. We hung out all together, and they were good, nice guys.
Right.
And
Were
then,
you ever
yeah,
were you ever close to being in Kiss?
no,
Never?
no, and I didn't want to be in Kiss.
Yeah.
I thought that I didn't musically. I thought they were, it was all about the show.
Yeah.
Back in the day, back in those early days. Anyway, but I got to know them, and then when they started moving to LA, I lived in LA, and I ran into Paul, and I became friends with Paul. And Paul always loved Rod Stewart. And I was playing with Rod, so I'd take Paul to Rod's parties and all that stuff. And me and Paul would go see Angel together, and we'd hang out. One time we went into a Midas muffler place with my Jaguar.
I used to work for Midas.
Yeah, well, I was getting the Jaguar muffler replaced, and Paul never was seen without the makeup, so nobody knew him. And I was playing with Rod, and we were like, number one everywhere. So we walk into the place, the guy goes, "Hey, you guys in the band?"
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So he goes in to do the muffler, and Paul says he should only know who's standing here. I said, "I know."
Right.
But it was we got along, and then he did the album. I played on his album.
Yeah,
and I needed a manager. He hooked me up with Coin Management. I was with them for 2 years.
Oh,
And
you
my
were Bill Coin?
Yeah, and then on the West Coast was a guy named Alan Miller ran it, and then Bill closed the West Coast office, and I stayed with Alan. He managed me for 10 years, and we did all these great things. And, the drum offs, we started the drum offs. We did all kinds of really good stuff. I did my solo album. He got it, helped me get it out,
Yeah, out of all of them, that was Paul's was my favorite solo album. Out of the four.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Yeah, Richie Fontana played drums on that too. Who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. I remember I flew in from Thailand or something with Rod. I flew in, came right from the airport to the studio. I was freaking fried. I played on more than one track, I think, and they only used that one track.
One.
And then when that album came out and was starting to be big, I did a clinic tour. And the first clinic, the guy said, "Hey, what are those fills you played at the end of the Paul Stanley song?" And I said, can we hold for 1 minute? Yeah. "Charlie, I'm doing interviews. It's going to be later tonight because after these, I'll try and call you before my show, okay? My label."
Okay.
So I did these clinics, though, and they said, "What are the fills you did?" I don't know. I just played whatever came to my mind.
And you didn't remember?
I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Next day at another clinic, same thing. Another guy asked, "What are those fills you did?" I said, "My God." And I said, "I can't believe this thing's so big already, So next day I do another clinic, and I said to the owner, "Do you have that new Paul Stanley album on cassette or something?" He said, "No, but there's a record store 2 doors down." I said, "Great." So I went 2 doors down. I actually bought a cassette, and I listened to the song, and I said, "Oh, that's what I did." Okay. Sure enough, the next 3 clinics, everybody asked it.
Everybody wanted you to play that.
And now I knew what I did and I showed them, you know?
You got to play that. Did you play that on your little snippets that you do with the drum parts on your page? I didn't hear that when you're playing the drums.
You know what? I don't think I did, but it's a good idea.
Yeah, you haven't, because I
always will do that.
Carmine, I follow you, brother. I'm telling you. Like I told you, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. And I always try to guess the songs. You know.
Did you guess the one from the other day?
No, because some of them are hard to guess, because I'm being honest with you. I mean, I'm 51 years old.
That was Oleo.
Cactus.
The bass solo.
Yeah.
I thought it was Evil when I put it up.
Evil.
You know? But then when people started saying it's Oleo, I said, what did I do? Put the wrong one up? I did. Because I did all those before I moved to Florida in our house in Connecticut. I got, I don't know how many of them.
Oh, so you don't do them daily. You just did a bunch of them and then
I
you put
did
them
a
out.
bunch of them and I put them up. And when I did them, I was doing them daily when COVID first started.
Yeah.
And I gained 40,000 fans from doing those things.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
You know, so now we got the studio in the house. I'm going to start doing, I'll start doing the ones in the studio now, but that's a good one, Paul Stanley album.
Yes, absolutely. And then, you know, I want to mention, because you mentioned it in a lot of interviews about your hair.
Yeah.
You got the Uncle Frankie hair going now.
I got Uncle Frankie hair going.
And then when you showed the picture of your Uncle Frankie, it's fucking dead on. You look just like him.
Yeah, I know.
I like it like that.
And you know what's funny?
Good.
On my Facebook, I got the most comments of anything.
Right?
Him dying, Eddie Van Halen dying, this one dying. 3,700 comments.
Right. Imagine that, Carmine. It's the stupidest thing sometimes, where you think you're going to be big with something and it turns out to be something that you never in a million years before.
I said, that's exactly where Facebook's at.
Exactly. You know, I mean, what could you do?
And the reason, and I think when you ask the question, like I go, what song is this? You get a lot of comments because people say, what song is it? How do you like my hair?
Yeah. How do you like my hair?
Question mark, you get response.
Well,
do a question mark. Hey, here's where I'm playing. Here's a new album, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I should say, what do you think of this video? Is it any good? Does it suck? Is it good or bad? Maybe I should do it that way and get response. I just put things up, you know?
Right, exactly. Well, it's good to stay active in there. You never know what you're going to get, you know.
Yeah, I'm not as active I should be, but I'm not into that.
I mean, Carmine, you're a hard worker. You do a lot of different projects.
I don't know how to hashtag or just share shit, you know?
I hear you. Let's talk about Rod Stewart.
Okay.
For all the fans out there who do not know this, okay, the man in front of me
wrote the song, Do You Think I'm Sexy? I co-wrote that song, and Young Turks.
Absolutely.
You know that? You're living in a cave.
There's some people that don't know that.
I
but
know that.
And you want to know why, Carmine? Every time that song is on, and I'm going to tell you this, and my hand on a stack of Bibles, I go, do you know who wrote this song with Rod Stewart? And a lot of my rock friends, I'm like, it's Carmine Appice, whatever. They're like, get the fuck out of here. What are you kidding me? I'm like, no, it's Carmine Appice. He wrote that song with him. I go on YouTube and look at the video, and Carmine's over there playing the drums.
Well, that doesn't mean I wrote it.
Yeah, but you were involved in the band, and I'm just, I guess you could say
it on the label.
Yeah.
Now, what you got to do is put a copy of the song label on the Facebook.
It was you, Rod,
check it out on my Facebook.
Yeah. But how did that song come about? And here's what I want to ask you. Okay. It's the Blondes Have More Fun album, and he's foraying into the disco era. You, of all people, I could not picture in the disco era.
That wasn't a disco song when we wrote it.
It was a rock song that he made it.
It was no, not he. He had nothing to do with it. We wrote it. We recorded it as 3 guitars, bass, drums, and a keyboard with a big fat drum sound, big fat guitars, and the same vocal.
Like you play in Drum Wars.
No, not that version.
Really? A different version.
But it had the 4 and the bass drum. He wanted a song like Missing You, like the Rolling Stones. Okay. Charlie Watts played 4 on the bass drum. You know, which doesn't necessarily mean it's disco, but it was heavy rock. Tom Dowd, the producer, put an orchestra. He put Tom Scott. He put David Foster. He put percussionist. He put chicks singing the 3 octaves up. So we used to have one 24 track. Now we got 2 24 tracks. When you do that, everything shrinks. Okay, so when he mixed it, Andy Johns, come on, Andy
Led
Johns,
Zeppelin.
great, everything, everybody,
yeah.
great stuff, Hot Legs and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Great drum sound. He mixed it, but you know, when you got 48 tracks going, the drums shrink, the bass shrinks, the guitars shrink, and it became more sounding like a disco track. But we were all like a little disappointed, tell you the truth. But then when it came out, went to #1 in 14 countries, sold millions and millions of copies, more than anything he's ever done.
Yeah.
Who
You're
could
not going to
argue?
complain. You got the Scott-O.
Yeah, who could argue, you know?
Right. And
And
then,
then I did that version for Guitar Zeus with Pat Travis. I
Yeah.
did the heavy version, which goes to show you a good song's a good song,
no matter
how
what.
you do it.
I hear that. And then you also wrote Young Turks
Yes.
on the Tonight I'm Yours album.
And that came, Rod wanted a new wave sounding song. So Dwayne Hitchings, who helped write Sexy, we went into his studio, me and him, we came up with this stuff. The time the Oberheim drum machine just came out, and me and Dwayne were endorsed by it. And we said, let's put this on it and make it really modern sounding. But the only thing that sucked on those was the hi-hat and cymbals. So we put the drum machine, I played it with my fingers, right? I programmed it, played it, got the tempo, it played, and we didn't put cymbals on it. I put cymbals myself with physical cymbals, you know, and we presented it to Rod. He loved it. He loved it so much. He did Tonight I'm Yours, the title track, the same way.
Right.
We programmed everything. We did everything like that. And that went to #4 all over the world.
And I got to ask you, because on that song, the title is called Young Turks, and it's never mentioned in the song.
That's right. That's Rod.
That's Rod. So why did he call it Young Turks? I'm glad I got you on the show. 'Cause I've been wanting to say this.
A Young Turks is a rebellious kind of person, you know?
Right.
So that was just, the character was like, you know, the both of them, you know, the couple was a
Yeah.
rebellious kind of couple. So they're called Young Turks.
Awesome. So you spent 7 years with Rod, and then you're leaving. And in your book, you state, you know, I know Rod's a big partier. You know, you go to all the parties, you meet all the movie stars.
Yeah.
You know, is Leslie listen to this?
No.
Okay. Says you made love to 4,500 women.
Oh yeah, she's the one that figured it out.
But I got to tell you, you're not associated with that whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll image that rock stars are.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the drug
come
part,
on,
I should
50
say.
Well, not the drug part, but I smoked pot and drank a bit, but not like, I was never addicted to cocaine. Like
Right.
everybody else. I never liked cocaine. I like Quaaludes.
You were more psychedelic. You were more down.
I like to slow down, you know, smoke pot, Quaaludes, that was me. You know,
Okay.
I never
great.
liked beer. I never drank beer. I never liked the taste of it. With Rod, when we were out, we'd have brandy and Coke and sake, stuff like that. In Japan, I drank sake quite a bit, you know.
Wow.
But I never got into a bad habit of any of it. That's why I'm still healthy.
Yes. And that's in his autobiography called Stick It. If you want to get Carmine's autobiography, it's called Stick It. That's available as well. There's a lot of stories in
It's
there.
on my
One of them-
website.
it's on his website as well. Let's talk about your foray into Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
The first question I want to ask you, is that your drums on Over the Mountain?
No,
It's not.
that's Lee Kurzak.
It is Lee.
Yeah, Lee died. But
Okay.
they screwed Lee.
Oh, God.
Sharon. They screwed Bob Daisley. They screwed me. They screwed Phil Susan. They screwed everybody.
Jake.
Jake. Everybody sued him.
Yeah.
You
He
know?
wrote-
It's
he
not
wrote-
just me. It's not me saying it. This is a fact.
I know.
You know, Phil sued him. Bob and Lee sued him. I don't know if Randy sued him, but you know, I don't know what happened with Jake. But they're not friends.
He
with
never
Jake.
got publishing. He wrote the albums and never got publishing.
It's terrible. I
It's-
mean, when she fired me, you know, I had associate producer on the album, on that Bark at the Moon album, because I went in, I helped him finish the album. I did the vocals with Ozzy, you know, like in the production thing with Ozzy. I helped with the drum sound, remiked the drums and stuff like that, because it was Tommy Aldridge. And they didn't like the drum sound. They didn't like the way he played. So they called me to come in and join the band and help fix this.
Right.
I did. And I was in the studio for 3 weeks in New York with Ozzy and Tony Bongiovi. And we fixed it. And my credit was associate producer. I was supposed to get paid the bonus every time it went gold. And when she fired me, everything went down the tubes.
So you
Yeah.
never got your rightful due on that album,
No, not at all.
monetarily or
No, monetarily, I got the first 500,000. I never got what I was due financially. I had to
Wow.
sue to get what I was due with my contract. And, and she was doing, I had in my contract all the stuff I did.
right,
And
and
she
you still
didn't
didn't
like
get
it. And she said, your name is too big. You need to start your own band. And they brought Tommy Aldridge back and fired me.
So that's why you got fired, because your name was too big.
That's what she told me with a smirk
Jesus.
on her face.
Wow.
So I started King Cobra.
Yeah. Well, Mark Torian, and that's a great band.
Mark Free.
Mark Free. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I always get those two confused.
Yeah. Well, he was in it for a minute too.
Yeah, for a minute. But just one last thing about Ozzy. When you're in the studio and you're writing with Ozzy, does Ozzy bring in lyrics?
I never wrote with Ozzy.
You didn't write with him.
No. Bob Daisley wrote all the lyrics.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask.
The first two albums, Bob did all that.
Yeah, because I know in Sabbath,
Bob's a great writer.
Yeah, great guy too. Sabbath did all the Geezer did all the lyrics for Sabbath. I wanted to know on his solo stuff, does he bring in any lyrics? Does he bring in any music? Or it's always the band and he just sings?
No, the band and he just sings.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I figured.
He's
All
a
right.
nice guy. I love Ozzy.
Yeah.
When she fired me, I was putting King Cobra together. I met him at the Mates Rehearsal Hall. He was auditioning drummers, funny enough. I had King Cobra, rehearsing, getting ready to go out on tour, and with Kiss, funny enough.
Wow.
And Ozzy came up and said, "Hey, Carm, I hope we're still friends. I know you and my missus have a problem." I said, "Yeah, I know, Ozzy. I know it's not you.
He's just along for the ride. She wears the pants.
Oh yeah. But he's the name. He's, and I mean, come on. What Ozzy's Ozzy. He walks around the stage like he's gonna fall.
Yeah.
He sings a song. I love Ozzy. He's great, good talent.
Yeah.
Great icon. But we had to put lyrics on the back of Bob Daisley's shirt.
His shirt?
Because he couldn't, yeah. He'd walk off to the side and they paint a lyric on the back of Bob's shirt. Ozzy go back there and remember, just before teleprompters.
Wow, that's a great fucking story. I mean, I could talk for hours, Carmine, with every band.
But I gotta go soon. But
yeah, exactly. So let's just move on to Blue Murder, one of my favorite bands that you were involved in.
Yeah. Me too.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. That band should have been huge. It was big, but not huge.
Yeah.
I know you get this question asked a lot. What are the chances of a Blue Murder reunion? And I know you're going to say it depends on John.
It does depend on John. I mean, we were going to do one, and he wanted to do like a John Psych history tour, which is cool, So we basically left it that when you're done with that, then let's do Blue Murder. And that was 4 years ago.
And then he like disappears. He's supposedly coming out with an album, and then it's like,
Let's put in 2010, he left Thin Lizzy so we could do Blue Murder. And he was going to use the manager who had Thin Lizzy as the manager, and he was going to book. He already had bookings in Europe, big festivals and stuff. And then they had a falling out, and that was the end of it. And then that was the end of John. That's
Wow.
it.
I played the shit out of that album.
Oh yeah, it's a great record. I mean, I recorded the shit out of that album. I
Oh
did
my
the
God.
drums twice.
Aside from the outfits that you guys wore,
Yeah. Well, that was like the Blue Murder. I don't even know why we wore them. We never
when
wore them
you're on the
live.
pirate ship.
Yeah, we never wore them live.
Yeah, I couldn't understand it. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It was just the concept. Blue
Right.
Murder was like, ahoy, matey, Blue Murder.
You should have had a cockatoo.
I don't even know whose idea that was.
Looking back, you're saying I should have stabbed that guy.
But the band, I went after that band. I went after that band to join that band because I heard Cozy Powell was in it with Ray Gillen.
One of my favorite drummers.
And Ray was out and Cozy was out.
Yeah.
And so I went to England when my brother Vinny played 4 nights at Odeon with Ronnie. And I figured somebody there is going to know how to get a hold of Blue Murder. So I went to England when they played. Sure enough, Chris Welch, a writer, told me how to get a hold of them. I went there, I went and played, we smoked some hash. I played on Cozy's drums, and John came up to me and said, holy shit, we've auditioned so many drummers. You got so many different drum fills. I said, thank you.
Did you know who you were?
Huh? Yeah,
Did you-
yeah, he knew who I was, you know. He asked me to join, he asked me to do the Whitesnake album, him and Coverdale. I couldn't do it, so I had King Cobra going.
You mean the Whitesnake album?
The big one, yeah, the fucking big one that pissed
And
me off.
Ainsley Dunbar did drums on.
Yeah, I recommend, I said, why don't you get Ainsley?
Oh my God.
And he
What's
did.
wrong with you,
Yeah.
Carmine?
You know, there's 3 times that happened in my career. It happened with, I was asked to join Rainbow, I couldn't do it. I was on a Blow by Blow record, and the legal things with record companies couldn't, I had to take me off. And those are the 3 big times. And
With Beck?
was Jeff
Blow by
Beck.
blow?
Yeah. I recorded 5 tracks of it.
Holy shit.
And then
Wow.
they took me off, and I recorded with George Martin. I spent months in England with Jeff, and we couldn't figure out the legalities of the record label baloney. So I had to blow it out, and then they got somebody else in, and it sold bigger than the biggest record he ever had.
Wow. Well, as I said, we could talk forever. I just want to mention 2 more things and we'll wrap this up. Appice Brothers, Sinister.
Yeah.
You get this
Appice.
vocalist,
You mean the Peace Brother?
Appice, as you say in the back, Appice, Appice,
Peace.
Appice.
Yeah.
You get Jim Crean, who is a friend of the show, who is the hardest working man in rock. I'll go to my grave saying that. He has 9 solo albums out, great vocalist. The 4 tracks on the album, I believe, are the best on that album. Aside, and I have a soft spot for You Got Me Running, the one that you sing on.
Yeah.
And you told me you created that song on GarageBand.
Yeah, I did. I wrote the whole thing on GarageBand, and I gave it to Tony Franklin to learn the bass. And I did the whole arrangement. I sang the vocals. I did everything.
Right.
And then I recreated it for our album.
Yeah. And with Appice Brothers in Drums, however you want to say it, on the live, Jim plays with you. I was supposed to go to the Cutting Room show. I never made it, but I've seen you guys at Staten Island, and what one hell of a show. I love going to those shows
I'm talking to a manager who's a pretty big manager, because he's a drummer too, and he managed a lot of big artists. I said, look, I need a manager to take over and really do the number that Drum Wars deserves, because it's a great show.
Oh man,
there's no other show like it. There's no other drumming brothers with the success we have. It's a tribute to our own careers. We play all the hits that we played on, and it's a great show. We got a great band, and you know, we can do so much with it if we had the right person selling it, you know, promoting it, doing PR for it and everything. This guy's got the whole thing down.
so we got to look forward to
talk to him
that.
more tomorrow.
But I mean, what a great record Sinister is. I can't say enough about it. People, you have to go out and get it.
I know. It is.
What are the chances with the follow-up? Are we at?
Well, Vinny's acting like John Sykes on this one.
Oh God, it's Vinny?
We have a great song to go out and get us another record deal. I already played my drum part. I sent it to Vinny months and months ago, and he hasn't done it yet. And he keeps saying, "Oh, I'll do it," and then he forgets.
All right, I'm going to send him an email. I'm going to kick him in the ass. Don't worry about it.
No, they have to do that.
You know what, Carmine? And I know you mentioned this many times, and I hate like beating a dead horse, and I hate to give this guy any more publicity, but I just want to mention this. That shit with Vinnie Vincent, that show,
God.
yeah. But listen, I just want to say something. I would have paid a couple of $100 to see that fucking show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to give this guy any more
Cheap.
publicity,
A couple hundred's cheap for what he wanted.
right?
He wanted everybody to pay $1,000.
But to have Jim Crean, who I love,
Yeah, I know.
Tony Franklin, you, and that fucking idiot, I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but it's the truth. The guy
He's an idiot.
blew it big time, you know? Anyway,
I did one of these interviews, and next thing I know, I'm blabbermouth. Carmine
I
Appice on Vinnie Vincent.
I know what you mean. And like I
Anytime I
said,
say something stupid on these things, it ends up on blabbermouth.
I don't want it to get blown out of proportion. I'm just telling you, as a fan, as a huge Carmine Appice, Tony Franklin, Jim
And
Crean fan.
it started out really great with the conversation with me and him, because he was in my group, Carmine and the Rockers.
Yeah,
And-
I remember you
And
saying
this
that.
guys called me when they were going to hire him. What do you think? I said, "He's
Trouble.
trouble. It's fucking trouble. I mean, you want trouble? Hire him." They did, and they got trouble. but he's
Fucking-
talented. But he was talented not on that Vincent album crap. He's trying to be Yngwie. He fucking sucks on that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, any of Vinnie Vincent Invasion fans hate me for that. But he sucked on that compared to how he can really play. He's a fucking great traditional player, like Ace, like Jeff Beck, like
Yeah.
Clapton, all those guys. You know.
It's funny
But
because
he's a freaking idiot. I don't know what he's thinking.
if you go on YouTube and you go to the disco hit by Dan Hartman called Instant Replay, Vinnie Vincent is there playing guitar with G.E. Smith from Saturday Night Live, and they're going around, they're jumping with the guitars like this. I laugh. You're like, this guy played guitar on that song as well.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
with Carmine and the Rockers, I got a whole album's worth of stuff. He won't let me release it.
He won't let you do it.
No.
I had Todd Hallworth on, and he was doing the gig where he went up there and played with them. The band was Fall by Fate, and Todd said we couldn't believe how he was just standing there going like this. You know, he was playing like a deer in the headlights. Anyway, we'll move on. No more publicity. I just wanted to mention that. 25th anniversary of Guitar Zeus.
Yep.
Carmine has a vinyl edition out. It's available on his website.
It's a box set.
A box set. I'm sorry. You're right.
It's
And
not available on my websites. I don't have any. But it's
okay.
available now in Deco Entertainment. It's a big deal. It's a box set. Four LPs, 3 CDs. You can get the deluxe bundle with a Guitar Zeus t-shirt, a new signed picture with my new image, a
Uncle Frankie
medallion with
picture.
my logo and a pick, you know, and a booklet, you know, color booklet, some tracks without the guitars with me, Tony and Kelly, some tracks with just the vocal without the lead guitars, so guys can play to it, you know. So there's a lot of stuff in it.
Right. And the single he just released was with Tommy Thayer and Kelly Keeley, Mystified.
Keeley.
It's on my site. But here's some of the
Brand new.
guitarists.
Brand new and never came out. This
Yes.
song that was never out.
Here's some of the guitarists that are on there. You got Yngwie, you got Bumblefoot, Brian May, Richie Zambora, / Neil Sean, Vivian Campbell, Mick Mars, Zach Wilde. When Carmine says, come and do an album with me, these guys listen. And that's a stellar lineup.
You know what's funny? My next book is going to be called Guitar Zeus, the book.
Really?
Yeah, all the guitar players I played with in my life.
You know, Carmine.
And the situations, and unfortunately, Vinny will be in it.
Oh boy, we're gonna give him some more publicity.
Yeah.
Does he have to authorize you to write about him?
No, not really.
just
It's
write it?
true. You know?
Okay. So listen, Carmine's got a lot of gigs coming up. He's a very hardworking man. November 13th is Vanilla Fudge at the Traff Music Hall in Buffalo. November 15th and 16th at Sony Hall, and that's with
Robbie Krieger,
Robbie Krieger from the Doors. I'm sorry, I drew a blank for a second.
another guitarist.
Another guitarist. You're gonna get him on Guitar Zeus 3?
Well, I don't know. There's no market for that. You can't
Yeah.
make any money recording anymore.
I hear you. November 17th at the Ridgefield Playhouse in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And 11/12, which is tomorrow night, him and Jim Crean will be at Hi-Fi Hits, 5221 Main Street, Williamsville, New York, from 6 to 7:30. It's going to be an album and book signing. So if you want to meet two of the hardest working men in rock, Mr. Jim Crean, who's the singer in his band Appice and Drum Wars.
Appice Brothers.
I'm sorry?
Appice Brothers.
Appice Brothers. He's correcting me, this guy. Okay. You got the Queens boy and the Brooklyn boy. We're the butt heads.
All right. Yeah.
Well, Carmen, we could talk for hours because, you know, we're both caquirones, as we say in
I
Italian.
know. Okay, bro.
All right. So I want to
See you
thank
soon.
Carmine Appice. Thank you so much, Carmine. I really appreciate it. And go to my,
Okay, Mr. Vitale. Thank you.
that's me. Go to my page for all his stuff and go to carmineappice.net, correct?
Yeah, or .com, either one.
Or .com.
I got
Thank you
both.
very much, Carmine.
Thank you,
God
bro.
bless you, and I hope to see you soon.
Okay, ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye.